Hey friends, back here in the woods. I do a little flint napping. I got a piece here I started. Try to get it wrapped up. I don't know how long I'll stay back here. A lot of skeeters running around right now. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a thermocell. Okay, I'm back. Got the thermocell fired up here. We'll see how that does. Typically the thermocell does a really good job. So I can't tell you what kind of point this is. It's a piece of daysite. I just started napping on it, and it'll be whatever it turns out to be, I guess. So. This is called pressure flaking. I'm using this long. This is a Ishii stick. So I braid it. Like I said, I'm not a professional by no means. Braiding it, I know it's kind of like chalking a cue stick. It makes that copper stay on there for just a second. So I'm pushing in with putting pressure in, and then I'm flipping to take a chunk off. Just working on thinning it down a little more. So I haven't done it for a while. I used to say this was my meditation. I used to go out and after dinner and just sit on the porch and work on something. So this piece I'm working on comes, I buy them, I go to Knapping's, so I can buy pieces that are pre-sawn. This is actually a piece of glass, blue glass. You can use that's a piece of plate glass. And then you can also get big rock. This is dacite, same stuff. Different process to work it. Nope. And then if you can find, that's the bottom of an old beer bottle. So the old beer bottles are much thicker, I don't know, better glass than the new ones. The new ones are pretty much too thin, at least for me anyway, to work on. So I'll show you some of the tools I got. So Ishii stick. This is a piece of moose antler. So when you work a big piece, I use the moose antler to hit that and break off. Besides the moose antler, I also have what's called a copper bopper. That's a copper water cap, and then there's 2 or 3 50 caliber lead balls smashed and epoxied inside. Sometimes I just use a stone, because you can use a stone and do the same thing. So that took a pretty good chunk. Nice big hinge there though. So yeah, stone. I use antler, piece of elk antler, piece of whitetail. I can use this end, and I got copper on that end I can use. That's just a stick with a piece of copper in it. Deer leg bone. This one has a horseshoe nail in it. So that works really good when you start notching. And then, like I said, I have braid. So this is a piece of an old grinding wheel broke off. I also have this is a diamond. So I picked this up at a Knapping. The guy had a bunch of them. They used to be used on some optic machine to cut lenses and stuff. And once they get so wore. And then also sandstone. That's just kind of some of mine. Here's another copper one. I think what that plastic's called, Durolin. But anyway, those are just some of the tools. This is I use it as a hammerstone on the big stuff. I want to say municipalities will run a bunch of these through sewer lines, clean them all up. I think that's where this guy gave it to me at one of the events. That's what he told me. He gave me this and a couple big chunks of rock. So yeah, those are my tools. Another, just a rock. So I think it's pretty relaxing. Yeah, I don't have any, well, I got one. Here's one I did. That's a piece of obsidian. There's a whole 10 of them up there on the porch where I usually do this. I just make them and throw them in a tin, and I've made a few. I've made a few and sold, but I used to have when I did the reenactments, I would set up on Thursday, and then Friday they would bring all the, I think they were, I don't know, 4th graders. I think that's what they were at the school. They'd come through in groups. So I would set and demonstrate and show them all the different rock. I've got Indiana hornstone, dacite. I got some chert from Texas, some Burlington. Whenever So I would do that, and then I would have on Saturday when I was set up and the public came through, I always had one guy would come back and he'd wanna buy at least one of my points. He said he bought them every year. He bought one of mine. He bought them whenever he saw a flint knapper. He said, I always try to buy one off the guys. So no money in it. I mean, I don't do it for money. If I did it for money, it would be a job, and I hate to work. So now I made a day sight blade, a little longer than that, with a leg bone handle, and then I made a neck sheath out of birch bark. Pretty proud of that. I really liked it. Well, then I had some lady wanted to buy it, so I thought, well, I don't really want to sell it, but she was pretty persistent. So I threw what I thought was a stupid price out there, and she said, my husband will be back in a little bit to get it. So there you go. I think I got $150 for it, which I thought was pretty crazy, but hey, she was tickled, so I was tickled. I figured if I need it, I can make myself another one. Now I'm just going to go up here, move my platform to the other side. It's pretty much thin enough now. I'll go up all the way around. Oh, and then that happens. So that just changed everything. So instead of a point, this is going to be some type of blade. And that happens all the time. Part of the reason I buy these preforms that are already sawed, I don't know, they're $2–3 a piece, something like that. The bigger pieces, you know, like these. Last time, it's been a couple years since I've been in Knapping. I still got a couple 5-gallon buckets, but these were $4 or $5 a pound. And if you ever picked up a rock, don't take too many of those to. That one's probably a pound and a half. But you can kind of make whatever you want to make. Arrowhead, knife, atlatl point. Like I said, I'm no professional. I just enjoy it. It's one of those things we talked the other day at work about. They don't teach stuff in school anymore for, well, auto mechanics, machine shop. They teach some machine shop here at the school where I'm at, but we're considered the orthopedic capital of the world. We have Zimmer's, Biomat, DePio, and a bunch of other small ones. So they do have some classes in school where they teach, it's all CNC stuff. When I went to school, closest to CNC you had was you would write your program and it would punch it out on a little paper tape about so wide on a reel, and then you could load that into a machine and the machine would make the part if you wrote the program right. So I think we made these little drill bit guides. So I still see a couple mosquitoes, but for the most part I think the thermocell is working. So there's a lot of other guys out there on YouTube that can you know, they do a better job. Ed Mosier does a phenomenal job. He's not far from here. I try, if I can, I try to go to his Knappings. He has at his place. That's where my t-shirt's from, Mosier Farm Knapping. And there's one in Ohio, Flint Ridge, Ohio. It's a really big one. I think there's New York. I think they have them all over the place. But as I was saying, they don't teach kids stuff, you know. I'm like, man, I wish I would have, you know, I was probably 30 some years old the first time I even heard about Flint Knapping. I mean, I suppose I've probably seen it somewhere, but never really. And I thought, man, it's really cool. I went to my first little Knapping, oh, maybe an hour from here with a buddy. My buddy Louie. Louie and I used to camp together in the teepee, and then we went bear hunting and elk hunting, a lot of fishing, deer hunting here. Louie was much older than me, but he worked at one of the sporting goods shops here in town. He did a lot of compound bow work. You'd set your bows up, make new strings for them, build arrows, all that stuff. I saw him one day and he said, hey, I'm gonna go take a bow class to build a self bow. I'm like, really? Where do you do that? And he said, Dan Nelson is doing it. So I went with them. I ended up signing up, paying for a class, and I built my first Osage bow. Then since I built one of my boys one. I built my daughter a couple. I built her a really small one when she was just, I don't know, 5 or 6 camping. And then I built her a little bit bigger one. And that was a lumberyard bow. I found a real nice piece of oak and I put some cotton material for backing on it. It turned out pretty good. And then I built a takedown bow to go bear hunting in Maine. So the first one I built, it looked good and everything, but it just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So I got another piece of Osage and I thought I got to build another one before I go. So I built a 70-pound longbow. Yeah, 70 pounds. It was heavy. I couldn't pull it back now. But I built that bow. I built some really heavy arrows, wooden arrows, turkey feathers on them, 160 grain Magnus points, and I practiced and we went to Maine and I shot a bear. It was hanging on my wall. But I took that same bow to Colorado elk hunting, but no luck. I know I told some guys when we went to Colorado, I went with one group and then I had several buddies who were like, man, let's go. So I said, well, I'll put it together. So I put it together. We had a couple meetings, you know, informal meetings beforehand. And they were all talking about how they were going to have their elk mounted. I said, I'm going to tell you, you're going to Colorado, camp in the Rocky Mountains for a week. You're going to ride up there on horses and mules. So that's what we're doing. If you shoot an elk, that's just going to be a bonus. So, none of us got elk. We actually took rifles that trip. Saw a few elk, just never had a shot. But like I said, we camped in the Rocky Mountains. We rode mules up, I don't know, I think we were camping 12,000 feet. So I've killed a bear with a bow, bow I built. I have yet to kill a deer with a bow that I built. I've shot them with compound bows and muzzle loaders and stuff. So there. So that's going to be a nice little blade. So this stuff is crazy sharp. So I had a guy come to the house with a buffalo hide. He took somebody buffalo hunting somewhere, and all that guy wanted was the head and the cape, well, and the meat. But so this guy brought me over the rest of the hide. And if you've seen a buffalo, that's a lot of hide. So my buddy Louie and I stretched that thing out on the garage floor, and then we fleshed it with just stone. So when you flesh an animal with stone, I mean it's razor sharp. It does a really good job. It doesn't leave marks. Where if you use a steel knife to flesh, to cut the fat and stuff, you'll leave marks on the hide. I don't know why that is, but that's how it works. So we fleshed that hide, and I salted it, and then I tanned it with a tanning recipe. And it's hanging in my rendezvous trailer. We always kind of used it as a homemade tanning recipe. Left it pretty stiff, but we would use it for a rug to lay down in the teepee. Nice day. Everybody's got their hot rods out. You can hear them. So you can do anything with a stone blade you can with a steel blade. And then, with the except, you can't, what you're not supposed to do with a steel blade, no prying. I mean, this one's still pretty stiff, but you can cut up an animal with it. I think this one, if I don't break it here before I finish, I may round up a piece of leather and make a small neck knife sheath for it. Take it one of the meetups. We're talking about a blanket trade at a meetup. So, if you've never heard of a blanket trade, you throw a big blanket out, and everybody kind of sits around in a circle, and you put what you got to trade out, and if somebody wants what you got, they'll set theirs down, and you either accept it or you tell them no, put some more in. And you trade. I'll find something to be a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit sharper. I'll braid a little more. So that'll be cool. I just haven't done this. It's been a while. Been a while since I've done it. But I don't know. It's like riding a bike. You can do it a little bit, you catch back on. who's the other? Oh, Donnie Dust. He's on YouTube. I've actually been watching some of his videos. He does a really nice job. He uses is it avo? He just uses antler and stone to knap the stone. Every now and then he'll do some copper, but for the most part, so you can find flint different places. It was you know, it was traded too. You know, as soon as the archaeologists and stuff think they figured out where, then they find a piece and they're like, "What the heck? This is not native to this area." But you know, they were hunter-gatherers. They traveled. They followed the animals. So see, I broke it, and I thought, oh, but hey, it's going to turn out. It'll be a nice little blade. And whenever it gets dull, you can just grab a little pressure flaker and go back through, and you can resharpen it. So I don't know how interesting my video is today, but so most of my videos are just what I felt like doing that day. I've been wanting to come back here and do this for a little while. Thermocel's working. Now, mosquitoes are not bothering me now. So I said this was an ishy stick. So you can look ishy up. Gee, I'm trying to think. I've read the book. Ishy was the last of his tribe, I think out in California somewhere there. Some railroad workers found him along the railroad track. I don't know. They kind of think maybe smallpox or something took out the tribe. But anyway, a couple guys, Pope and Young, worked at a museum there, you know. They were also bow guys. They kind of took Ishy in, and then, I mean, for a better word, they were studying the guy, and he showed them how to flint knap. A cool thing in that, the railroad had the telegraph lines. See, yeah, that's like really good and sharp there now. The railroad had telegraph lines, and they put the big insulators on them. I'm sure you've seen them, the green. I think most of them are green. There's some clear ones. They put those insulators on them. Well, the natives would climb the poles and swipe the insulators because they would make a nice point. So then at one point, after having to go out and fix the telegraph lines, the telegraph guys would just leave boxes of insulators on the ground next to a pole. That way they would take those instead of climbing up and messing up their telegraph lines. I thought that was kind of a neat story. I don't know how true it is, but I mean, it makes sense to me. I got one little spot. If I can get this braided. That's usually when things go bad, when I say I got one little spot here. Now, get a different palm pad. This palm pad is a sole off a shoe. It's got a little notch right here. That gives a place for that flake to go if everything's done right. Got one little flat spot up here I want to knock off if I can without ruining it. I got most of it. Almost all of it. See another one here if I but it's a cool, I mean, I think it's a really cool little hobby, whatever. Oh, man, almost all of it. Cloud slid in, darkened it up a little bit. I might do some more of it. We'll see if anybody likes the video. I said the other day I've been working on, I just finished one wooden lantern case. I just made out a bunch of scraps. Pallet stuff and whatever. Turned out okay. It'll protect my lantern when I travel. That's what I was looking for. So make sure if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see more, we can get some big rock out and work on some big rocks. Thinking about getting my Adelaide out, throwing it a little bit. Thought about taking it to the meetup. I just don't know. When I go to the meetups, I really like just sitting around and visiting with the guys. I know James, old school with a modern twist. I know him and I have talked. I'm gonna take my fly tying stuff. Him and I are gonna tie some flies and then go see if we can catch some fish with them. So I'm about done on this one. Okay, like I said, I'm about done as far as I want to go, for fear of having three little pieces in my hand. It's always you want to get that one more, you know what I mean? One more, if I can get that one little piece off of there. Got that one. So, small blade, piece of dacite. Like I said, I might wrap a little piece of leather around that handle part. But you could definitely skin an animal with it, cut up and process something. Maybe I'll get a little neck sheath for it. And we'll put that on the trade blanket. Alright everybody, I appreciate you hanging around watching. As I said, I hope you found it interesting. If you did, say something in the comments so I know. I don't know what YouTube's doing right now. My views are way down. I know I was gone for a couple days, but I don't do it to make any money. I just do it to have fun, and well, it's even more fun when people watch it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you Wednesday for Wednesday's Words of Wisdom. Thank you.